The American people deserve to get the full and complete facts immediately. We don't know the facts, which is why we are calling on the FBI to release all the information that it has. Even Director Comey noted that this new information may not be significant, so let's get it out.
And in an ironic twist, Hillary Clinton is calling on the FBI to be transparent about her emails as she faces a potentially devastating blow to her presidential campaign with a week and a half to go. A new national poll released this morning shows this race has narrowed dramatically, and that survey was taken before yesterday's news broke. Only 2 points between the nominees now. Trump had a lot more to say about the FBI's new investigation of his opponent today. Listen.
It's everybody's deepest hope that justice at last can be properly delivered. Hillary has nobody to blame but herself for her mounting legal troubles. Her criminal action was willful, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. Hillary should have been convicted long ago.
Hillary addressed herself today as well. Listen.
I'm sure that some of you may have heard about a letter that the FBI director sent out yesterday. It's pretty strange to put something like that out with such little information right before an election. It's not just strange, it's unprecedented, and it is deeply troubling. We've called on Director Comey to explain everything right away, put it all out on the table. Right?
Yeah. And Ed Henry has more now live from Washington. Ed?
Great to see you, Kimberly. New questions tonight about whether the Obama Justice Department sought to protect Hillary Clinton from more scrutiny in the email scandal, because an FBI source is confirming to Fox that top Justice Department officials tried to stop Director James Comey from informing Congress that he was reigniting this investigation of Clinton's server, warning Comey it violated 2 different Justice Department policies, commenting on an ongoing probe and taking action that could influence an election. The FBI source said while Comey reports to Attorney General Loretta Lynch, he does not play what this source called cautious mother may I rules, and took Lynch at her word when she vowed repeatedly over the last year or so that she'd be independent and let the FBI follow the facts. A senior law enforcement official is adding that Comey felt compelled to act now because the FBI found over 10,000 emails from top Clinton aide Huma Abedin on a laptop that she has shared with her now estranged husband, Anthony Weiner. The LA Times is reporting today that new Abedin emails were not to and from Hillary Clinton, and top Democrats in Congress are jumping on that to say and write a letter to Comey and Lynch demanding a complete accounting of what kind of evidence he does have. But the senior law enforcement official we spoke to insisted the FBI is looking at evidence pertinent to the probe of the Democratic nominee's server. And Republicans also note today that after all the heat Comey took this summer, after saying there was evidence of potential violations of law by Clinton, he would not risk a second major embarrassment by coming forward now, reigniting this investigation, unless they have some kind of evidence that would justify that, because he's going to have eventually a public accounting, Kimberly.
All right, thanks for that update, Ed. Now, Trump thinks this is bigger than Watergate, and one of the reporters who broke that story doesn't agree, but Carl Bernstein does think the FBI must have come across something big.
We don't know what this means yet, except that it's a real bombshell. It is unthinkable that the director of the FBI would take this action lightly, that he would put this letter forth to the Congress of the United States saying that there is more information out there about classified emails and call it to the attention of the Congress, unless it was something requiring serious investigation.
House Judiciary Committee member Trey Gowdy agrees this is an extraordinary move by the FBI. He says Clinton's only got herself to blame.
Extraordinary email arrangement with herself, and she is the author of her own destiny. Everything that's happened since then is the natural, probable consequence of deciding you're going to have a rogue email system. So I understand she's upset, and I understand she doesn't like the timing, but she need to look no further than herself.
Okay, so great point by Trey Gowdy. This is a guy who was always a top prosecutor, smart, was one of the ones answering the questions, trying to get some answers from Hillary Clinton. What I find to be remarkable, Greg, is the fact that Hillary is calling for transparency, and this is the one that wants to be the deleter-in-chief, had the illegal email server, didn't follow protocol, used BleachBit, used hammers, oops, they forgot 4 and missed 4 different devices. But you know who has the emails? We don't need to have the FBI release them. Huma Abedin has the emails. So why don't you, Hillary Clinton, let Huma Abedin, who works for you, release the emails instead of trying to put the FBI on the page on this?
The last thing you want with Anthony Weiner is more transparency. But you know what? Here's my question about this scandal. Did Anthony Weiner flip on his wife to stay out of jail? I would say that's beneath him, but the only thing beneath him is a camera. And about this idea, it's true. I've seen the angles. So we were asked, is this a big deal? We're asked, okay, is this, Bernstein says it's a big deal. I say, who cares if it's a big deal? Imagine if the shoe were on the other foot. How hard would that shoe drop? The Democrats would milk this like a bloated heifer pumping out liquid opium.
You're full of disgusting an analogy.
No, but I'm saying that don't blame Trump or anybody for working this. Because imagine if this were the left. What did they do to Romney with binders full of women? A very small thing where he was actually talking about hiring women, what they did to him. And what did he do? He turned the other cheek, and he lost. In this case, nobody's turning the other cheek anymore.
But why should somebody turn the other cheek, Melissa? I mean, this is significant. There is an investigation of consequence going on. And as a former prosecutor, for Comey to say, felt compelled enough after reviewing these emails, he said they appear to be consistent with our email investigation of Hillary Clinton's server.
If there's one thing we know about Director Comey, it's that he needs mountains of irrefutable evidence to do anything, to move an inch, to open his mouth, to do anything. So there has got to be mountains of irrefutable evidence here. In order for him, he knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, he knows exactly that he's turning the election upside down. Last time around, he said he was loath to impose on the election. He didn't want to do this. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot there. I wondered the same thing, too, because when the FBI seizes Anthony Weiner's laptop, that's very serious. He potentially has pictures of underage girls on that computer. The FBI takes that very seriously. He's looking at hard prison time. I wonder what else he's saying. I mean, it's not just this laptop. Who knows what other information he has? I mean, he could be singing like a yellow-tailed cockatoo.
I hope those.
How was that? Did you like that?
Very nice.
Was that okay?
Yeah, I hope the agents had their shots.
Yes.
Exactly. So Tucker, so the laptop that Melissa referred to was used by Huma and Anthony Weiner. It also begs the question, what total disregard for national security? This is somebody that works very closely with Hillary, has for a very long time, and was somebody that would receive Hillary's emails, go through, screen them, forward them to one of her couple of accounts that she had, and then all of this potential treasure trove of information on a laptop by somebody who's accused essentially of being a pedophile.
And it's not as if the Clintons didn't know this. I mean, Bill Clinton presided at their wedding, so they were fully aware she was married. Her closest aide was married to a lunatic.
And
by this point, he had held 2 press conferences admitting publicly on camera that he was reckless and out of control. This laptop in question, by the way, is really significant because at the end of June, on the 26th of June, Huma Abedin gave sworn testimony that she had turned over every device with emails on it to the federal government. Was this one of those devices? Apparently not. That's a problem. But ascend to 35,000 feet very quickly and ask yourself, who does this help? This has always been a contest of who's worse. So on the one side, you have Donald Trump, who's emotionally incontinent, doesn't know much about policy, has, is over the top in his personal life. Fine. She's under FBI investigation less than 2 weeks before the presidential election. Holy smokes. It kind of answers that question definitively, and that's why the left is panicked.
Yeah, and she was already with the statement by Comey, Julie, saying that she was extremely careless, and the statutes don't require specific intent. It's not a specific intent crime. This is just further evidence that national security information and emails were not maintained properly and across a multitude of devices, and they did not comply. So you're looking at potentially obstruction of justice. You're looking at potentially perjury charges, depending if there's inconsistencies with what Huma said, just to the point that you made in terms of the devices and turning over the evidence.
Well, there's a ton of speculation. You just said that she's under FBI investigation. Actually, there's no evidence that she's under
Who,
FBI.
Hillary?
Hillary.
Well, they just said she was. That's the only reason I
Who
thought
said
that. The director of the FBI.
No, he
said
didn't.
we're looking at this. Oh, yeah, actually
Yes, it
did.
is.
In the letter to Congress.
No. In the letter to Congress, he said he did not specifically. Excuse me. He did not
try another tack. That's,
it's not
that's
attack.
sad.
Wait a second. Show me where he said that they are looking at her. We don't know if these emails are from her to her. In fact, the LA Times said they're not.
So Comey said it to just let them know that they're looking into Anthony Weiner?
They're looking into emails that may have something to do with this. But wait a second, Tucker.
Here's consistent with our investigation of Hillary Clinton.
No, excuse me. Wait a second. But what you guys are talking about here is rank speculation. You may be right.
No, the
you may
speculation
be wrong.
It may not be a big deal. I'm not
it
saying
may not be a big deal.
There's no speculation about whether they're investigating her. They're investigating her. They said they are.
Release it. Release it.
Okay, that's a different question.
No,
but I'm saying they're
but
investigating her.
But Hillary can release it. She's the one that prevented the release. That's why this is just so rich.
What can Hillary, what can
She's
Hillary
like, why
do?
don't you put the information out there? Oh, Hillary, you actually have access and control to it, and so does Huma Abedin. If you want the emails released that you're putting the finger on the FBI, do it yourself.
Do you know
That's the point.
does she know what emails they're looking at? Because right now, for all we don't know what they're looking at.
No idea. We know they're investigating her, though. She's under FBI investigation.
Emails on that laptop. You don't know what emails are on your laptop? I know what emails are on your laptop.
Yes, I do. So she should release just her entire laptop, all her personal emails, her correspondence with Anthony Weiner.
If it's that important to them in the election, I mean, that's what Hillary Clinton is saying. It is critical that we get this out so the voters know it's life or death to her. She should release the emails off her laptop.
How about the feds, and specifically Jim Comey, needs to get up tomorrow. I think he owes it to the people. There's an election in less than 2 weeks. Get up tomorrow and say, this is what we're specifically looking at. We're looking at Huma Abedin or Anthony Weiner. Why not?
Because that is not what, if you prosecute cases and you work with these people and the FBI and these investigatory agencies, that is not protocol. They're not under obligation to do that.
They're not.
That would actually be a deviation. And he actually had the courage to come forward. It's true. He said what he did, and he put it out there, and despite the fact that Justice was telling him and pushing him to not write the letter and inform Congress. Now, if that doesn't show you the kind of collusion and coercion and trying to coerce him, and you know what? He went ahead and did it anyway, but he's under no obligation now to explain to Hillary Clinton we're in this position because she deleted 33,000 emails and destroyed devices.
Excuse me,
so what happens
if we're talking about protocol, I can't remember the last time we had protocol where less than 2 weeks before an election we had a federal bombshell like this dropped by the feds. Usually they wait to do this either after the election, or they do it 2 to 3 months.
Well, I kind of agree. I'd like to know more.
So I'd like to know more.
But it doesn't mean she's under investigation. Let's just be honest.
But wait a second. Let's be clear here that if Judicial Watch and I and you all agree on the fact that Jim Comey owes us more information, Jim Comey owes us more information.
We're not in charge.
Greg, real quick, because we have to jump.
All this talk of release is getting Bill Clinton really randy. Do you know what the big moral lesson here is? Bigger than politics. Do not stand by your man. You know, Hillary did it, compromised her feminist leanings. Huma did it, it's humiliating. Think of all the damage Tammy Wynette's song has done so much damage to the Democratic Party. And the irony of it is that Trump's a serial divorcer. That kind of makes him a better husband because he's saying, I suck, see you later.
Melania's still standing by him despite all those little silly pushings.
The other two were gone.
That's true.
So
enough
2 out of 3.
Enough of this political telenovela. Because next, a live report in the Clinton camp's game plan in light of this potential game changer. Stay tuned.
It's been a joyous 24 hours for the Clinton campaign. But what's going on behind the scenes? Let's go to Jennifer Griffin live in Miami, where the secretary will be holding an event with J-Lo tonight. I hear she's a pop singer. So, Jennifer, I imagine behind closed doors, the floor is an inch deep with millennial hair from the constant pulling.
Do you mean the campaign floor or the stadium behind me?
No, the campaign floor.
Well, on board the plane, of course, they're trying to put forward, make it look as though this is just another day on the campaign trail. They expected this kind of October surprise. They weren't exactly sure it was going to be this particular October surprise. Hillary Clinton just spoke in Daytona Beach after landing in Florida. She, again, spoke to about 900 volunteers, and they booed when she mentioned James Comey's name. She said it's very disturbing that this kind of kind of letter would be sent to Capitol Hill just days before the election. She said they are demanding answers. There was a conference call with her campaign manager and campaign chairman earlier today. They were obviously fired up. They are angry. They feel that Comey has acted out of line and that he has broken with tradition, where the tradition at the FBI has been 60 days before an election not to release information that might influence an election. So that's what we're hearing from the campaign. They are clearly on the warpath. Huma Abedin is not traveling with Hillary Clinton on the plane today, even though she is always with Hillary Clinton. She brought instead with her Philippe Reines, who she always turns to. He's the aide who played Donald Trump in those mock debates, and he is a fighter. And it is clear from the mood today, seeing Hillary Clinton in Daytona Beach, that she is planning to fight.
But when it rains, it pours, right, Kimberly?
Absolutely. So, Jennifer, there's been some new information coming out as well. We were discussing it in the prior block about potential charges that could come forward, because when you give a sworn statement under oath and you're supposed to provide and turn over all the devices, now we find 4 devices that have been called into question that they came upon that obviously were not turned in. So if Huma Abedin gave that testimony under oath, this could be a big problem, because clearly that is not the case. She did not provide it when, and these are devices that she used while she was at state.
Well, Kimberly, this is clearly an issue for Huma Abedin. What the campaign is saying is that this doesn't have to do with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is not the one being investigated. They say that these emails, and this is from the conference call today, these emails did not come from her server, and that they believe they are not to or from Hillary Clinton. And so that what they want to know, they also said that yesterday the impression was given that James Comey had reopened the investigation into Hillary Clinton, which they said was closed in July. James Comey needs to come out and clarify that, because it is not clear that that investigation really has been reopened at this point.
MF?
Jennifer, can I ask you, you talk about Huma Abedin is not there with you right now. I mean, obviously there's a lot of speculation about her being thrown under the bus at this point. Is there any scuttlebutt about where she is, when she might be coming back, any of those details?
Well, I think you can safely assume she will not be thrown under the bus. In fact, on the conference call today, Chairman Podesta was asked about Huma Abedin's status, and he said that she had cooperated with the FBI, that they do not believe there are any new emails, even in the cache of emails that supposedly belong to Huma. And they say that the campaign still has full confidence in her. She is not traveling with Hillary Clinton today, but there are no indications that she plans to step aside. She is the vice chairman of the campaign at this point.
Hi, Jennifer. It's Julie. So the campaign had one of two choices. I guess they could either double down on the strategy of going after Comey or try to downplay this whole event and move on to something else. Do you get the sense that they're going to spend the ensuing several days just doubling down on the Comey attack rather than trying to move on to a different topic?
My sense is that they are definitely doubling down. You heard Hillary Clinton do so. The crowd responded. They booed the director of the FBI. And then she pivoted, as the Clinton campaign often does in these situations, and she pivoted to talking about Donald Trump and saying that he's trying to fearmonger in the country, that he's distorting this situation and trying to keep particularly people of color away from the polls. Those were her words just moments ago. So I believe that Hillary Clinton is in a fighting mood, and you will not see them back down from this in the next 10 days.
Last question from Tucker.
So, yeah, Jennifer, Tucker, what about Joe Biden? I don't know if you saw the Michael Smerconish interview he did after this broke. He was asked about Anthony Weiner, and though he is a surrogate for Hillary Clinton, he did not seem up to date on the story. That's not like them. They seem, in my dealings with them, like they're on it. You know, everyone who's representing them knows all the facts, and he didn't. Any idea why?
Well, I think if you look at Joe Biden's past, he doesn't always sing from the same page as he's not your typical surrogate for the Clinton campaign. His name did come up recently as a possible Secretary of State, and nobody is denying that he is on a short list for that position. What he had to say about Anthony Weiner, though, he had some choice words. He said he never liked the guy. So I think there's a great deal of frustration. And if you talk, Greg, about hair on the floor, probably that hair on the floor is at the White House, where they can't believe that this email story still has legs.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. Democrats commended the FBI's director for clearing Hillary this summer, calling him a great man. They don't think Jim Comey's so great anymore.
surprise. Well, in July, Democrats were really excited when FBI Director James Comey decided not to recommend charges against Hillary Clinton. They praised him effusively and often. Here's a selection.
I want to begin by commending you and the public servants at the FBI for the independent investigation. You had a thankless task. There's no question that you were extremely thorough. In fact, some may even say you went too far in your investigation. But of course, that's your job. That is your job.
Let me just say this about Director Comey first. This is a great man. We are very privileged in our country to have him be the director of the FBI.
You know, Jim Comey is just a really great guy, just a really great guy. Until today, when he became Idi Amin. Democrats now questioning his motivation and his judgment. Watch this, it'll make your head spin.
When you do this 11 days before a presidential election, and you don't provide many details, but details are apparently being given by the FBI to the press, this is very, very troubling.
This is a very concerning situation. The more information that comes out, the more overblown this entire situation seems to be. That turn has raised more questions about Director Comey from his colleagues in law enforcement circles to take this extraordinary step 11 days out from the presidential election.
So, KG, you got to give him credit for message discipline.
Yes.
So Trump says something ugly about Nancy O'Dell, and the Speaker of the House is like, I don't even know this guy.
Right.
Every Republican in Washington disavows him. Hillary Clinton becomes the subject of an FBI investigation, and literally in 10 seconds, all of them are singing from the same song sheet. Dianne Feinstein attacks Jim Comey, like, right out of the gate.
Unbelievable.
Not one defection that I saw.
Yeah, because they don't like it, because they thought he was their guy, and now all of a sudden it's like he peed on the Democratic carpet because he didn't listen to Loretta Lynch telling him and Justice saying, hey, stand down, don't put a statement out. So that has to tell you, as a prosecutor, that he had sufficient and compelling evidence. Now they don't like it because it doesn't work well for their side. Total hypocrisy.
So, I mean, Julie, what would Hillary have to do to lose support of fellow Democrats? If she was caught in a Santeria ritual drinking human blood, would anybody say, you know, that's too much?
No, because alternative's Donald Trump, so no.
Yeah.
But there's no principle then. It's all about power, is what you're saying.
No, it's all about not electing Donald Trump. But I will say, let me say this as a Democrat who supported Jim Comey when he came out with his findings, and still do. I just have questions. So it's not that I don't support him or don't think he's a good man or a decent public servant. I just have questions as to why you're breaking with precedent and doing something this close to an election. All he needs
must be bad.
Well, then he should come out and tell us what it is, because I think all of us who are about to go vote, some people are voting already, are entitled to know what it is so we can make an educated guess. We can make an educated decision at the polling booth, and right now I'm not sure that anybody can make an educated decision.
I don't think that's a crazy point.
He broke with precedent, though, when he stood up in front of the nation and did that press conference and said that he wanted complete transparency and that it was important to do this, even though it had never been done before, because he wanted to make sure it was clear what had happened and there was, you know, he didn't impact the election. I mean, he broke with precedent before, and that's when Democrats were cheering him on. I mean, I was going back looking through some of the nice tweets and things from old. I came across down in Brazil tweeting, Republicans are damaging the rule of law by attacking FBI Director Comey. That was a few months ago. Now things have changed. I mean, beware the tables turn again and again and again on every side.
That's true. But Greg, isn't it also true that Hillary Clinton has broken precedent by breaking the law a bunch while running for president?
She's like, I mean, I think Comey's just another person that has been soiled by Clinton. She's like a poop flinging transient on a subway car. If you get too close, it's going to get in your hair. But
not the hair.
Let's keep this honest, because there is a blinkered hypocrisy with all team sport politics. Back when they were praising Comey, there were people here condemning him, and now you're seeing the reverse. People going, wow, Comey's got guts. He's actually coming out. He knew he had to do the right thing. So I think we're all kind of guilty of this. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair for any voter to say, you know, I want to know more, and it's also fair for any subject of an investigation to get some kind of relevant explanation of it. I mean, if I were under investigation, and I pray to God I never am, I would want to know, like, what is this about? And so I do think that's a fair point. But when Donald Trump calls anything into question, oh, you're running down the American system, you're attacking democracy. Here you have Democrats saying the system is rigged, and the press is nodding in bovine fashion. Yeah, it's rigged.
Yeah. Wait, you can't say the press literally has this above the fold in every major newspaper today, so you can't say the system's rigged.
But if you've gone onto their message board called Twitter, it's unbelievable. They're like, I can't believe Jim Comey is attacking the root of American democracy.
I don't really go by what people on Twitter think.
But that's what they really think.
No, but look, I mean, the reality is this. You have Jim Comey breaking precedent twice. One is, I think you rarely have a federal law enforcement official choosing not to indict, but then proceeding to go off for all the wrongs the person did despite not being indicted, right? So you never had that before. And then now you have somebody dropping something 11 days out, which is also unprecedented. This is not a partisan analysis. This just happens to be a fact, without also providing any explanation as to what the relevance of this is for all of us who are going to vote.
But it's also very rare that Carlos Danger is part of a presidential campaign, and he was part of Hillary's.
Thank God for that.
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
my gosh.
All right, up next. Apparently, President Obama and other Democrats could not care less that Hillary is under investigation. They're not bothered at all. They're stumping for her, ratifying her decisions. Should they consider asking her to step aside? That is the question. A rhetorical one. Next.
Despite yesterday's remarkable news that the FBI has renewed its investigation of Hillary Clinton, President Obama and Vice President Biden are still standing behind her.
I'm here today, Florida, to ask you to work hard as you did for me to make sure that Hillary Clinton's the next president of the United States of America. You have a chance to shape history. So don't let that chance slip away.
I think Hillary, if she said what I'm told she said, is correct. They should release the emails for the whole world to see. The whole world to see. They can continue their investigation. It won't, to the best of my knowledge, it won't prejudice the investigation. But that's sort of the stilted language the agency always uses. And it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. Chicago Tribune reporter John Cass thinks that's the wrong move. He asks, quote, has America become so numb by decades of lies and cynicism oozing from Clinton Inc. that it could elect Hillary Clinton as president? If ruling Democrats hold themselves to the high moral standards they impose on the people they govern, they would demand that Mrs. Clinton step down immediately and let her vice presidential nominee, Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, stand in her place. You chuckled.
Tim Kaine.
So I am forced to come to you first.
Tim Kaine. He's like Gary Johnson without the edibles. It's a drug joke. Anyway, he's like the understudy of Mr. Mistopheles in Cats. You know, and the cat just got mange. He's not gonna fill in. If you ask her to step down, she might just fall.
Oh my goodness! Wow!
I'll laugh.
There you go. There you go.
Tucker. Yeah, I mean, like you say, they close ranks. They're not going to say anything. I mean, not only are they not going to ask her to step down, they're not even. They're like, there's nothing here.
There's literally nothing she could do to shake the allegiance of Democrats, because it's not about, and never has been about, any kind of abstract principle or idea other than the acquisition and the wielding of power. That's it. They want power. They believe they're good people. They believe they ought to have power. And to that end, they will do literally anything. I personally think if I were Comey, I'd be very tempted to take the vice president at his word. You want us to release all emails? All right, here you go. We're going to dump the entire content of this iPad or this MacBook onto the public and see what you think. By the way,
can't blame the Russians or Assange now.
Yeah. And by the way, does anybody doubt that would be a total disaster for the Hillary campaign? Of course it would. They're not sincere. It's a head fake. They know that he's not going to do it, that he cannot do that. And so they are trying to reap the benefit of seeming transparent by calling for him to do that. He ought to call their bluff just for the amusement of the rest of us.
Say, why don't you release it? You have it. To his emails. Why don't you release it? Go ahead. Fine. I mean, that's all you have to say. This is so ridiculous. I mean, it's playing a game, and it's playing a game with the American people. And, in second place, or maybe tied for first, for most corrupt politician to come on the scene in American history, Hillary Clinton. That's what WikiLeaks, that's what this shows, destruction of evidence. But yet, for some reason, the entitlement, they still feel that they should be rewarded to get the Oval back again.
Julie, are you wishing for Biden? Would you rather have Biden right now?
I wish for Biden from day one. I was a Biden person from
Me
day
too.
one. But I will say this. You forget that for Democrats, it's not the acquisition of power, it's stopping Donald Trump. So what scares Democrats...
They did this with Romney,
No. But this is different.
Evil.
What scares Democrats more than anything else, and should, is Donald Trump. And so when you have, first and foremost, secondly, I'm not sure what this is all about. This could be much ado about nothing. It could be much ado about a lot. And right now we don't know. We have a letter that Jim Comey wrote, a very brief and very opaque letter that he wrote without any other information
but Julie,
given to us.
We do know what it's all about, because we've seen in all the wiki emails that there was intent, that they destroyed things, that they talked about what not to turn over to Congress. I mean, we've seen through all the wiki emails again and again that everything that went through that investigation was false, that they set it up to conceal what they were talking about. They set it up to conceal the foundation, that they destroyed emails, that they didn't turn things over. It was just too late then.
I just don't.
Now they have
nothing.
the other emails.
I haven't seen anything in the wiki stuff, that's illegal. I've seen things that may not sound good.
Obstruction of justice.
I haven't seen obstruction of justice.
Absolutely.
Where do you see obstruction of justice?
The conversation about what not to turn over to the FBI.
Yeah,
that's obstruction of justice.
Because guess what? You're not supposed to turn over anything more than you should turn over by law. And that's the difference.
The emails they were asking.
How about the computers? How about the computers? That's a lie right there. That's perjury.
The base may be afraid of Trump. They may buy all this stuff. He's a racist. He's a sexist. But the people running things, the Democratic Party, know they could work with Trump much more easily than they could work with Mitch McConnell because he's non-ideological. This is true.
He's unhinged.
They are manufacturing this stuff in order to get out the vote because they seek power above all.
No. Donald Trump is not because, wait a second. Nobody can work with Donald Trump because he's mentally unhinged. And I think a lot of people believe that, not just the Democratic base.
We'll see. Donald Trump raised red flags months ago about security risks posed by Anthony Weiner's close connection to Clinton's. See that flashback ahead on The 5.
Her number one person, Uma Abedin, is married to Anthony Weiner, who's a sleazeball and a pervert. And I'm not saying that. I mean, that's recorded history, right? I don't like Uma going home at night and telling Anthony Weiner all of these secrets, okay?
Do we really ever believe that Donald Trump is capable of pivoting and staying on message for any long period of time? Especially 9 more days, 8 more days?
I don't know. Something else is going to happen because this is the craziest. They're going to find out that Tim Kaine is actually a space-shifting alien. You know, he's just going to rip it all up.
That already came out.
The thing is, though, it is kind of funny when Trump is calling Anthony Weiner a pervert. I mean, you know, given the revelations in the last couple of weeks, I think they're both compromised when it comes to this subject matter.
But one is under investigation as a pedophile.
I know.
With the FBI. I mean, really, it's just true. Who's going to lose custody of his child?
But bragging about sexual assault, it's close.
I'm not talking about admirable qualities. The point simply is, though, he's got the advantage here because he's also not under investigation like Hillary Clinton.
Well, and
one candidate that's running for president of the United States that's supposed to be entrusted with our national security.
When a candidate is compromised by their sexual behavior on both sides, it's on both sides. Let's face it.
And to be clear, she's not married to Anthony Weiner. You know, what I thought was a little unfair is to hold Huma Abedin responsible for, as he did a few months ago, for essentially being married to Anthony Weiner. You know, that
wasn't the connection he's making, though. I mean, what he's saying is that by bringing secrets home and by bringing the campaign home, she's leaving it unattended with somebody who is out of control, has terrible judgment, is open, to any kind of payback from somebody he has had these emails with, whatever, and then lo and behold, they're sharing a laptop. I mean, he's on her laptop where she's getting information from Hillary Clinton.
And that's improper.
Sharing,
it's an abuse of a security clearance.
It's not that she's staying with him, it's that she's letting him near her phone and letting him near her computer. And I remember at the time people were saying, well, that doesn't mean he's going to go on her phone. And here we find out, lo and behold, they're sharing a laptop and he has access to Hillary Clinton stuff.
That's a fair point.
I am with you,
and that's what Trump said in August.
I think that Kellyanne Conway should get like oven mitts and duct tape them on Donald Trump so that he can't do any tweeting because there's a lot of time left for him to get out. Yeah. No, because then he can still tweet.
But Huma is not just some random woman in Hillary's office. She's the single most important person in Hillary world, and she's married to a person whose fame derives from his inability to control himself on electronic devices. So I don't think it's entirely insane to say, wait a second, if I'm already doing this homebrew server thing and sending classified information to Huma, and she lives with this nutcase who's able to, likely do something crazy with it, I don't know. I don't think that's a stretch, is it?
No, it's not.
We've talked about this.
It's not a stretch.
We've talked about this for years. We thought that when Uma was in that office, we were talking about that potential problem, and why was she still there?
All right.
Been around.
Well, you do raise good points. All right. One more thing is up next.
Time now for one more thing. KG, you're first. Okay, thanks. A bachelor party for a Michigan groom. It ended with everyone taking home a rescue puppy. It's the cutest story. So the guy's name is Mitchell Craddock, and you see the photo there of all the groom's room. And this was in Vicksburg, Michigan. They were going to the woods to have a bachelor party type of situation, having fun. The first morning there, they noticed a dog by the front door, and that she was guarding a certain area in the woods. There was a big hole, and inside of it were 7 puppies. So all of the dogs, including the mom, so 8 total, and you see them right there, were adopted by the groom and his groomsmen or their relatives. And what's nice about it is they can also hang out and be buddies because they all live very close to one another within a 5-mile radius.
Nice.
Well done with a happy ending. Isn't that nice? I think so. Greg, beat that.
Uh-huh. All right. Live show tonight. This is a first for the GG show. It's going to be live. We're going to have Walter Kern, the great writer. We got
he's
Cat.
the best.
Yeah, he's the best cat. We got Stephen Bauer from Scarface.
Yeah.
Bad, just great. And also, he's in the John Voight TV show. What's it called?
What show is this talking about?
Oh, I'm doing a terrible plug.
Yeah, this is really
Walter
Ray Donovan. He's in Ray Donovan.
Wow.
And then I got Tyrus, I got Kat Timp, I got Carl Cameron. It's going to be great. We're going to have the tape delay on in case I say something.
Oh my goodness, how charming. Just like old times.
Exactly.
Hope you don't choke. All right, Melissa.
Behold, my newspaper thief. Watch. Look at this. Okay, so for like 3 weeks, is it still? No, there's video. Here he comes, look! For like 3 weeks, this guy was stealing my newspaper. Look at him, put it in his messenger bag. We couldn't figure out what was happening. We watched the tape. So the next morning, 6 a.m., I set my alarm clock, I got up, and I pounced on him.
Really?
When he came to steal my paper, we don't have video of that. I jumped out. You're right, we probably do somewhere. Anyway, I jumped out and I yelled at him. It's my New York Post. It is delicious. It is delectable.
What did he do?
I need my Post.
Can I
It's
tell you
also
something?
like 10 cents.
What did he say?
Oh, he ran away.
With the
I said,
paper?
get back here. You said, no, I had already
You know,
taken
it was-
the paper in.
it was kill me.
He was going back and forth.
Melissa, you do know you get
So cheap.
that here for
But I
working at
want
Fox.
it
They
at
put one with your
home, 'cause
name.
it's so
All right. Well, I
delicious.
appreciate you
We all
supporting the
read
family.
it all day
All right.
long. It's the best.
I have-
Anyway, can you believe that?
Okay.
So get your
Did he
newspaper
continue to
thief.
take it afterwards?
We got to get
No,
everybody
I scared him
here.
to death.
Wow.
Post fans are
Quiet
ferocious.
on the prairie
Sorry,
again, please.
sorry.
All right, Tucker.
All right, so
Exciting.
yesterday, I'm totally on your side, Melissa.
Yes.
Yesterday, you may have noticed that on the tarmac at O'Hare Airport in Chicago, a commercial airliner caught fire. One of the engines sort of blew up. People were on the plane completely freaked out, trying to get out off the plane.
Wow.
And one man had the calmness and presence of mind to pull out an iPhone. There he is, Hector Cardenas. He calmly filmed the whole thing. Now, there are two ways to look at this. Either he's completely insane and so inside his own digital head that he wasn't aware of reality, or this guy is a superhero who has uncommon mastery of his own nerves. I'm going with the latter. I think this guy deserves some kind of award. He ought to be a cameraman here at Fox.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
It is amazing.
I would be freaking out.
I would
All right,
too.
Julie.
And he filmed
All
it.
right, listen, the Chicago Cubs haven't been in the World Series for quite a while, as we've all known. So there is a couple that is going to divorce court over the fact that the wife wants the husband to give her the season 4 tickets, saying that this may never happen again in her lifetime.
That
she
fair
needs
point.
the tickets in divorce court because, for all she knows, this will never
They
ever
should
happen
stay
again.
together for the Cubs.
For the Cubs,
For the
right?
sake
That's
of
the same thing.
Until they get older.
Don't you think they
Until
should
the
bring them
Cubs
together?
Move out of the house and become bears or whatever. Exactly.
Maybe they should invite my newspaper thief. That could do it.
Okay. Synergy, I love that.
Yes.
All right,
Nice.
Melissa, we love it. You're like a superhero. We're going to give her a
That
cape.
was so
And a cape.
impressive.
I
Right?
pounced on him.
All right, Greg, so have a great show tonight.
Thank you. See you
we'll be
later.
watching.
Drinks.
Drinks. Set your DVR so you never miss an episode of The Five That's It for us. We'll see you back here on Monday. America's election headquarters with Martha McCallum next.
Papa.
Taken before yesterday's news broke. Only 2 points between the nominees now. Trump had a lot more to say about the FBI's new investigation of his opponent today. Listen.
It's everybody's deepest hope that justice at last can be properly delivered. Hillary has nobody to blame but herself for her mounting legal troubles. Her criminal action was willful, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. Hillary should have been convicted long ago.
Hillary addressed herself today as well. Listen.
I'm sure that some of you may have heard about a letter that the
Director James Comey from informing Congress that he was reigniting this investigation of Clinton's server, warning Comey it violated 2 different Justice Department policies, commenting on an ongoing probe and taking action that could influence an election. The FBI source said while Comey reports to Attorney General Loretta Lynch, he does not play what this source called cautious mother may I rules, and took Lynch at her word when she vowed repeatedly over the last year or so that she'd be independent and let the FBI follow the facts. A senior law enforcement official is adding that Comey felt compelled to act now because the FBI found over 10,000 emails from top Clinton aide Huma Abedin on a laptop that she has shared with her now estranged husband, Anthony Weiner. The LA Times is reporting today that the new Abedin emails were not to and from Hillary Clinton, and top Democrats in Congress are jumping on that to say and write a letter to Comey and Lynch demanding a complete accounting of what kind of evidence he does have. But the senior law enforcement official we spoke to insisted the FBI is looking at evidence pertinent to the probe of the Democratic nominee's server. And Republicans also note today that after all the heat Comey took this summer, after saying there was evidence of potential violations of law by Clinton, he would not risk a second major embarrassment by coming forward now, reigniting this investigation, unless they have some kind of evidence that would justify that, because he's going to have
FBI director sent out yesterday. It's pretty strange to put something like that out with such little information right before an election. It's not just strange, it's unprecedented, and it is deeply troubling. We've called on Director Comey to explain everything right away, put it all out on the table, right?
Yeah. And Ed Henry has more now, live from Washington. Ed?
Great to see you, Kimberly. New questions tonight about whether the Obama Justice Department sought to protect Hillary Clinton from more scrutiny in the email scandal, because an FBI source is confirming to Fox that top Justice Department officials tried to stop
The American people deserve to get the full and complete facts immediately. We don't know the facts, which is why we are calling on the FBI to release all the information that it has. Even Director Comey noted that this new information may not be significant, so let's get it out.
And in an ironic twist, Hillary Clinton is calling on the FBI to be transparent about her emails as she faces a potentially devastating blow to her presidential campaign with a week and a half to go. A new national poll released this morning shows this race has narrowed dramatically, and that survey was